All right. So if you are on the school board right now and you're faced with sending children and people and figuring out a plan to send everybody, all the students back to school in the fall, what would be your recommendation, or what would Debbi Hixon's idea of how we go back to school in the fall look like?
Well, I think we want to go back. Everybody wants to go back as much
My
as
son doesn't
you.
want to go back. He kind of likes that online thing. He just
Oh,
like, yeah,
really?
no, he doesn't want to go back. My daughter does, but my son's like, I don't want to go, but that,
Funny.
or like on a serious note though,
Right.
what is it? What would you recommend? What do you think it would look like for everyone going back to school in the fall, if at all? Or ideally, what would you want it to be?
Well, ideally, I'd want it to be back 100% the way it was, but that's probably not the safest way for us to do it. So I think that giving parents choices, just as you said, in your household, you have one student who would prefer to be online and one who wants to go back to school. And I think that in a way right now, for us to be able to go back at all, we can't have 100% of the kids there at one time. So if you give them options, you're already going to take a chunk of people out that don't want to come back. Then you can look and see how many students you have that do want to, and that's where the hybrid comes into play, because if you can only have 14 students in a classroom because of CDC guidelines and making sure that it's safe, because safety should always be our number one concern, then you're not going to be able to have all the kids on campus at one time. You're not going to have enough staff. You're not going to have enough of the facilities. So first, they're doing that now, right? Doing the surveys to find out who really wants to do what, and then they'll have to go. So at first I was thinking hybrid doesn't make sense, because if you can be on school 2 days a week, why can't you just be there 5 days a week?
Mhm.
And then as I was listening and playing it out, realized that it isn't that they don't want to have people there 5 days a week. It's just physically impossible to be safe and follow those guidelines and have 100% of who wants to be there all the time.
Oh,
So until that's safe to do, the hybrid is going to be an option where people can get there as much as possible. And that's the goal, is to get them all back on school campus as much as possible.
okay.